Bang, welcome back to another episode of OB Collider. I think we're on like episode 16, 17, something like that now. So we're making
This
good progress.
this might be the first episode we both have the same background from last time.
Same background last time, different clothing. That's
Different
that's a big
clothing.
win for us.
Yes.
But today we're going to talk about probably arguably the biggest thing that stops people from getting to 100,000 a month with their agency or AI service business or whatever you want to call them now.
AI
Um,
agency. There we go.
AI arbitrage, revenue, passive income generators.
Get those
Uh,
keywords. Love it.
exactly. But yeah, arguably the biggest thing that holds most people back from ever getting there, and something that is probably easy to do, just a little scary to do. So, if you wanna kick us off, Brayden, what is that? What does it look like?
As far as like just scaling a business and I'd say one of the biggest things that's held me back the most would definitely be like the concept of risk. Um, so when you're hiring people, hiring sales reps, when you're paying people, especially, maybe higher level operators, etc. Um, Sometimes it can be looked at as risky, and I think you've helped break it down in a pretty simple concept where it's like worst comes to worst, if they don't pan out, it's a month, 2 months, and then you move on, right?
Sure.
Um, so I think it's just like the concept of what is risky, what is not risky, um, and breaking your beliefs around that is going to be one of the biggest things to scale. As like woo woo as it kind of sounds.
Cool. So I'll like clarify that a little better. It's actually it's taking risk in and of itself, right? And it's
Yes.
the idea of like taking what is probably perceived as big risks. And if you think, I don't know about you, Braden, but like for much of my life, lots of the people that I was surrounded by were very risk averse, and probably most of us grew up being told not to take risks. You know, don't start a business. Don't do anything apart from study on like study your homework and work really hard at school. And go to a good university and all of these things. Don't don't cross the road unless the pedestrian sign is on. Like there's scales of it, of course, but for the most part, most people don't want to take any sort of risk at all. And the problem is, if you want to succeed in business, it's the bigger the business, the more risks have been taken, risks that have been taken to grow that business in the first place. And you have to do things that are determined as risky by most people. So do you want to share the like example of like risk that you had kind of realized in your business over the last month or so?
Yeah, I mean, at the level I'm at, I'd say like, I am very much like operating a lot of the things. Obviously, I've got team on the ground floor, et cetera, et cetera. That's that you're pushing a lot forward. But where I'm currently at, a lot of the problems, et cetera, and the growth of the business is falling back on me. And I feel like you only are as good and as scalable as the team around yourself. So recently, we've been looking and actually found a very high level operator that is going to be able to come in and implement new systems I haven't even thought about, excuse me. Implement new systems I haven't even thought about. Implement things that I don't have the time to do, that I can't even think of, et cetera, that are going to push the business significantly forward. So bringing someone in with a different skill set outside of my own. Because if it's all falls back on me, if I'm the only one who's able to like build everything, then the business is only going to grow as smart as I am, right? And I want to build a
Mhm.
team around that, sales reps that are better than me at selling, back end client success managers that are better than me at managing clients and getting success for them, et cetera.
So if you're listening to this, um, I said to Braden maybe 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, that he should hire a very expensive team member compared to what he's ever had on this team before. Partially because his business is growing quite well and he can afford it now, and partially because if he wants to keep growing quickly, um, I would argue you need some really good talent on the team.
Oh,
Um, so initially, like I think your response was, "Oh, that sounds pretty risky, right?" Like
yeah.
it sounds risky to go and spend 100, 150,000 a year, maybe more on somebody, on a salary itself. Um, but the funny thing about risk, and we had this conversation, but the funny thing about risk is, for the most part, um, there is far more upside in taking risk than there is downside. So usually you don't want to take a big risk like going and spending lots of money on a new hire or investing in a, I don't know, in a mentorship program or investing in a new marketing system or marketing team that will generate revenue for the business because you're looking at the short-term potential downside. Oh no, what if I lose like 5,000 a month? What if I lose $10,000 a month in revenue in my business? But the funny thing is, our brain likes to do that. Our brain likes to look at all of the things that could go wrong, and that's a defense mechanism we have. But oftentimes, it's easy to take that pessimistic approach and not look at the potential what if it goes right. And in your situation, you might lose $10,000 a month for a couple of months and determine that that person's the wrong person. And that's an expensive mistake for sure. But you might end up with somebody that can bring in, can support the business in making millions and millions of dollars more in terms
Yeah.
of having better services for clients, making you more commissions, allowing you to bring on more clients, have more time, all of this potential upside.
Yeah, and I think another perspective to that as well is even if, let's say, you do spend tens of thousands of dollars that you lose out on profit 3 months in a row, absolute worst comes to worst. Like I said, we're in a position where we're able to, like, obviously you don't want the loss, but if it happens, it is just a learning lesson. And then you apply it moving forward and so on and so forth. So when I've hired dozens of sales reps, now I kind of know what to look for in a good sales rep and a bad sales rep. Obviously, you always try to nail it on the first shot, but you can't be all speculative all the time. You just got to take the leap of faith, jump in. Obviously, filter this person down, make sure they're pretty qualified overall. And then if it works, great. Like you said, huge upside, millions of dollars a year to the business. If it doesn't work though, at least you learn something that you can implement on moving forward. And a lot of the times, the very successful business owners, it's not just because they got everything right and they just like struck gold or whatever. It's oftentimes that they just implemented things very quickly and they failed quicker. So they could end up succeeding quicker.
Exactly. Yeah. So, basically, like if you're running any sort of business right now, there's probably things that you can do in the business that seem really, really risky, and I'd encourage you to like actually go and take a look at those. And that if you're listening again, you probably can think of some things immediately right now that are risky. But if you actually try them, maybe they won't work, and you'll learn something very quickly, which again is upside in and itself. And maybe it actually works as planned, and suddenly you make millions of dollars more.
Yeah.
And for most people, if you're running any sort of like agency or service business that's doing less than 100,000 a month right now, if you have if you have a decent profit margin, then for most people that's going to be hiring somebody that helps take a bunch of load off of your shoulders right now, that gives you way more leverage to actually get better results, to actually have more time to focus on closing deals or doing client service delivery, whatever it is. And that seems really, really risky. But the thing about hiring people is as soon as you start doing it, you get much better at hiring people much quicker, much quicker, and you start figuring out who's relevant for what roles, what skills you actually need, and how to train those people too. Uh,
I think
yeah,
something that I've heard a lot from people that are a little bit more seasoned in business, but they've often said things that like when you get those good team members that are able to come in and implement things that you couldn't even think about or that you didn't know, or they teach you new things. Those are the often the type of people that really make business a lot of very enjoyable. Um, where everything's, like I said, not falling on you. Obviously, you're still going to work hard, learn a ton, et cetera, et cetera. But once again, I said it earlier, but I think you can only scale as big as the talent on your team can handle, right? So either you have to upskill, and then at some point you just can't do everything. Like you said, you're wearing a lot of the hats, et cetera. Getting someone else who can come in, take time off your plate, and allow you to focus on higher leverage activities, and just keep on repeating that cycle.
exactly. Or someone that's better than you or something too.
Yeah.
Which yeah, as you grow is usually what happens. The pretty much everything that you're good at, there are people that are better
The
than you at.
the business owner is the generalist that's managing everything and looking over everything. You should have specialists that are better at certain things. If as a business owner you're the best salesperson, I don't think that's like a compliment on yourself. I think it's a lack of you being able to find salespeople that are better than you.
1,000%. Coming back to risk really, really quickly.
Yeah.
Um, don't yeah, I don't even want people that are listening or watching this to take like some small risks. Like I think you should actually be taking much, much bigger risks. Like astronaut, like risks that you think are like impossible, like too impossibly large for you to achieve. Um, and I'll tell you a little bit, a little story, to hopefully help you change your mind about this, and then we'll wrap up. But I'm in San Francisco now, and what's cool about San Francisco is there's the entire city is basically consists of people building like building companies from scratch, and these are typically like tech companies. So it takes a while to build the technology itself before it can go like kind of go to market and then potentially do really well as a business. And then there's tons of people that like thousands of people that are full time dedicated to finding good companies and investing in those companies early. So equipping them with capital and other resources that allow them to have a better shot at potentially winning in the space that they're working on or building a very successful company. And the mindset of the people that are doing the investing in these companies is not an all or nothing, I need this investment to work. It is, and most people like actually laugh at venture and say, oh, this is so stupid. Like this doesn't make any sense. But when you look at it, it does make complete sense. It means that if I'm a venture capitalist and I have $100 million portfolio that I'm managing, I can make $100 million investments or $52 million investments, and I'm not attached to any one. And if I'm a good investor, I don't care if one hits or not. I obviously want them to, but I'm not. It doesn't affect me if a company doesn't succeed in the long run. And in fact, the expectation here is that like many of the companies that get invested in don't pan out exactly as planned. But the whole point is that for the ones that do, there's potential 100x, 1,000x, 10,000x returns. I think that one of Google's first investors made 30,000x on his money. He invested 100 grand into a company, and it literally 30,000x. That's a mind-blowing amounts of number, like a mind-blowing number. I can't even do the math on that. It's either I think it's 30 billion. It might be
Yeah.
more, but I'm pretty sure that comes out to 30 billion, which is a lot of potential money to make.
Yeah.
So the point is like not every bet will work, and that's okay. But the cool thing is when you're running a business, you can take bets like this all the time, and you just keep getting better as a result of it as well. So you become a better investor. If you're investing your own time, then you become better at doing that naturally as you learn. So you should be making as many big investments as you can right now so that you can learn much faster, become a better investor, and find those 10,000x opportunities.
Easy.
Boom. Love it. Cool. Thanks for watching. Sign up to OB if you haven't already. Yeah, we accept one person a month.
Link in the
Cool.
description.
Done.